Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, Reiko Filters, Evans Waterless Coolants, and Pace Farm. Hello and welcome to another episode of Classic Restos. I'm still in the beautiful hills of South Australia, and on this week's episode I have a very special automotive attraction to show you. And you'll see more right after this. It's thanks to Shannons. Ask about multi-policy discounts and sign up for the Shannons Club. Call 134646 for a quote and see more at shannons.com.au. And Hare and Forbes has the range. Buy online at machineryhouse.com.au. On last week's episode, we featured the amazing 2017 Rock and Roll Rendezvous. On this week's episode, it's about the building and what is inside. Welcome to the National Motor Museum here in Birdwood, South Australia. There are just not enough motoring museums in Australia, where not only are vehicle timelines depicted, but endless sources of automotive history as well. So when an incredible place such as this comes along, it is always so greatly appreciated. This is the stuff that helped to build our nation. There are too many vehicles on here to list. The museum was started by Jack Keynes and Len Vigar back in 1964 and was purchased by the South Australian government in 1976. It holds a large and historically important collection of cars, motorcycles and commercial vehicles. The museum is housed in a modern complex adjacent to its original home, the Old Mill, on Shannon Street here in Birdwood. Also, this magnificent museum is the endpoint to the annual Bay to Birdwood. I had an opportunity to catch up with the chairman, Michael Neal, of this iconic event. Meet Michael Neal, passionate, an enthusiast, just a good-hearted car guy with a sensible head on his shoulders that believes in what he does and initiates one of the largest classic automotive cruise processions every year, the Bay to Birdwood. Lover of many cars, Michael enjoys his MG. And Michael will tell you the Bay to Birdwood is bucket list stuff. And if you are watching from overseas, if you can, try and put your car into a container and get it here for the event, as it will be one of the most enjoyable automotive cruises you will ever experience.
I'm really passionate about the Bay to Birdwood, actually. And I've been entering the Bay to Birdwood for many years. It started in 1980, so it's got a history that goes back 37 years. And it's one of the great historic motor vehicle events in the world. It really is quite unique, and it's right up there with Pebble Beach in the US and the London to Brighton in the UK. And if you're a classic car person, it is one of those events that you have to do at least once in your life before you die. It is a special event. So what makes the Bay to Birdwood so unique? I guess there's a number of things. And the first thing is probably the number of people who participate. Now, I don't just mean entrants. This year is a classic year. We'll have 1,750 entrants. And there'll be maybe on motorcycles that will be entered. You might get one person, or they might have a sidecar. There might be two. In most cars, there's two, sometimes three people. So, there's probably going to be, in the entrant vehicles, 3,500 people. Then you have a couple of thousand at the start, a couple of thousand at the finish, and conservative police estimates of the people who come along, for 20 minutes or half an hour or for the whole day to sit along the side of the road and watch all of the cars go past. They say that we get about 60,000 people. Now that's quite an amazing thing, and for me, it's not just the entrance who are the participants, but everybody, the people who come and sit on the side of the road, for me, they are the participants as well. Do you know, my great vision is to try and encourage more people to come from interstate and from overseas to put their cars in shipping containers and bring them over here to do a Bay to Birdwood. It's the last Sunday in September, and it's usually beautiful weather in Adelaide. So if you've never done the Bay to Birdwood, it really is something that you should do. Get a vehicle, come over, enter. This year is a classic year. Next year it'll be what we call a run year, which are the older vehicles. So check out our website. If you've never done a Bay to Birdwood, maybe this is the year you need to do it.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons,
We've also got Shannons Home and Contents cover.
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be.
Shannons.
Shannons Insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
Australia's changed over the last 80 years, and Reiko Filters has changed with it. But one thing stayed the same: Reiko's commitment to develop and test all our filters under Australian conditions. Today, we're proudly celebrating our 80-year commitment to a design philosophy that ensures all oil, air and fuel filters meet or exceed vehicle manufacturers' specifications, delivering genuine quality and performance you can trust. Reiko Filters, the professional's choice.
If you have a restoration project, Hare and Forbes has the tools that you need. Look at these restoration products: shrinker stretchers, dollies, mallets, bead rollers, profile gauges, professional panel restoration kits, and so much more. Now I warn you, enter at your own risk because you will end up buying something. So come along to your Cap City store or browse and buy online at machineryhouse.com.au because Hare and Forbes has the range.
Evans waterless engine coolant. Simple to install and stays good for the life of the engine. Suitable for all engine types, Evans contains no water, eliminating corrosion, vapour pressure and overheating. With a boiling point of 190 degrees Celsius, there's no application or environment too extreme. evanscoolants.com.au. Water for drinking, Evans for cooling.
Making our way around the National Motoring Museum here in Birdwood, South Australia. With me now, we have the museum director, Paul Rees. How are you, Paul?
I'm great, Fletch. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good. Now, the museum's just over there, about 50 or 60 metres. You've got us outside the old mill here.
Yeah, that's because before we go into the museum proper, I want to show you something a little bit different.
Inside the old mill, this is amazing. I mean, from the outside, you'd have no idea what awaits you on the inside. We're looking at 3 levels here and automotive history that is beyond words.
It's fantastic, isn't it? It's the George Brookes Library, and it is getting close to being the largest collection of motoring publications in the Southern Hemisphere, we think. It's 3 floors of materials. The library is mostly staffed by volunteers, supervised by our curation team. They take queries from the website, from phone calls, from people coming in on counter, sending us letters. Some people still send letters, you know that, Fletch? Yeah? You remember those things? Yeah. And they send it, and they ask queries and questions, all types of things. Can you recognize this? Send in a photograph. Can we recognize this car or bike? Can you help me with, I'm restoring an old vehicle, I'm looking for the manual for it. Likelihood is we've got it here. Yeah. The volunteers are fantastic. They're the first port of information. In their heads, they've got massive amount of knowledge, accumulated knowledge. They're usually motor enthusiasts themselves. If they can't answer it, then they look in the library records and see whether they can find the answer there. If they can't, they will help the person with the query, and we'll go on to Google if we have to. Yeah?
So there's so much information from other sources these days, but I guess something totally left field, somebody might be restoring a Stanley steamer or something that's just way out there. Yeah. And chances are all that information could just be hiding here in these shelves.
Yeah, absolutely. Or that they can get guidance and advice as well, because even if someone's problem, someone's question, it becomes a research topic for us. So if we don't have the answer, we'll find the answer, and that's half the fun, is actually accumulating that knowledge through people's questions.
Now, Paul, not open to the public. Again, it's one of these like behind the closed doors in this building. By the way, how old is this mill?
Oh, this was the 1800s, yes. So it's 1820s, German flour mill. It was the Pflaum family. They were very well-known German settlers in the town of Blumberg, as Birdwood was known back then. They created this mill, and it was a very renowned flour mill.
Well, Paul, here we are, inside. We're in the foyer. It's a great place.
This is where we welcome guests and visitors into the museum. It's a great place. I like it because they give us the money here.
It's got a feel too. I mean, most museums have. I mean, it depicts the time capsule of a bygone era. As soon as you walk through the door, there's a gift shop there on your left there. We've got a Morgan, a 1946 Morgan here in front of us. It's one of these environments that, wherever you look, there's something interesting.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's the Grand Prix in the background to us as well, which is fantastic, and I love the pixelated images over there. But the first thing you see is the Regent petrol station, which is the first collection object. This is actually a collection object. It's down in our collection register. Right. The collection register is just every item we have that's in the museum is catalogued as a collection item. So it's actually technically everything we have in here, apart from the loans, is the state collection. It's a South Australian state collection. Yep. The technical owner is the Minister for the Arts, or Fletch. This is my favourite car in the whole museum.
What is it, Paul? I mean, we hear the term, that's not a bad jigger. Well, we look at the description here and it is a jigger.
Yeah, this is called the Ohl Meyer Jigger, and it's named after its maker, Albert Ohl Meyer. He made it in 1904. He was a watchmaker who lived about 30 minutes north of the museum. You can tell in 1904 there aren't many vehicles in Australia. Those that are here have been imported by people with the means to be able to import. We imagine that Albert has seen photographs and has seen a couple of the neighbours with a car, and he's gone, I can make one of those.
He's done a homemade one.
He's made a homemade vehicle, yes. And the clutch is made from red gum. It's repurposed tractor and farm equipment. He's knocked bits of wood together. When you get a close look at it, it's amazing. He's also got this fantastic trick for getting out of bogged conditions.
Yes. Now, has this got to do with the universal joint on the steering shaft?
Absolutely, yes. He would hop out and he would steer his car, his jalopy, his jigger, out of the rut he got himself into.
So where some people had a motor car to drive through the mud so that they didn't get mud on them, he in fact decided to get off and get the vehicle through.
Get off and lighten the load and get out of there. So behind us as well is a picture of his children in the jigger.
Tell me, Paul, do you have any contacts with the families, even today, like the generations down the track?
Yes, absolutely. The Ohl Meyer family are regular visitors to the museum.
All right, Paul, here we are. This is Bigfoot. Now, tell us the significance here.
Well, Bigfoot is the most recent acquisition by the museum. It came into our possession through a donation by a gentleman who owned the vehicle and was the owner of a Video Easy outlet on West Terrace in Adelaide, and it became quite well known because he used it as a prop for selling the Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome video or even video cassette release.
He could have washed it before he handed it to you.
You'd think so. I mean, it's ugly, but it's beautiful at the same time. This was in Beyond Thunderdome. It was driven by Angry Anderson.
Yes.
It went from the Video Easy to Namuka,
Yes.
and it was renamed the Namuka Buggy for a while there. So when this came into our sights, I said, yeah, we got to have that. We got it great.
Tell you one thing, Paul, it's the only one in the world.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, it was remade. One of the other things is that the museum does rely on donations. So this was a donation.
The mechanical standpoint from Bigfoot, well, it'd sound okay. I mean, if you're wondering what powers this thing, we've got a 302 Cleveland up front.
That's right.
Ford V8 engine, so it'd sound good. To have something like this as so one-off here in the museum,
Yeah.
I guess you would get pretty chuffed, Paul, that the stuff that you do have here, and knowing that it's only here at Birdwood.
Well, that's right, and I think it's you got onto the right point. That is uniqueness, and the word we use a lot more around here is significance. Is it significant? Now, we believe that movies and movie culture and cars and bikes and motoring that's featured in movie culture is definitely, it's in our brains, it's got into our minds, it's got into our culture, it's got under our skin, and so we need to celebrate that as well. So yeah, having a movie car in a motor museum is a very appropriate thing to do.
I spend a lot of time out here. The RT Charger's the real deal. An E49. Remember A-Charger? I've always got projects on the go, so Shannon's laid-up cover helps protect my restorations. I'm Mopar through and through. It's a passion Shannon's understands. I wouldn't insure my cars and bikes with anyone else.
Shannons Insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
Hare and Forbes Machinery House has been family owned and operated for over 85 years, and it's easy to see why. And with a range like this, you cannot go wrong. Planning on welding? Look at these welding tables and clamps. Air compressors and different air tools. Sandblasting cabinets, through to spray guns. Everyone is welcome at Machinery House, and they're also open Saturday mornings. Their range of machine tools are workshop tested. There are competitive freight rates around Australia, and you can buy online at machineryhouse.com.au. So remember, Hare and Forbes has the range.
Evans waterless engine coolant. Simple to install and stays good for the life of the engine. Suitable for all engine types, Evans contains no water, eliminating corrosion, vapour pressure and overheating. With a boiling point of 190 degrees Celsius, there's no application or environment too extreme. evanscoolants.com.au. Water for drinking, Evans for cooling.
Australia's changed over the last 80 years, and Reiko Filters has changed with it. But one thing stayed the same: Reiko's commitment to develop and test all our filters under Australian conditions. Today, we're proudly celebrating our 80-year commitment to a design philosophy that ensures all oil, air and fuel filters meet or exceed vehicle manufacturers' specifications, delivering genuine quality and performance you can trust. Reiko Filters, the professional's choice.
With me now here at the museum, Pauline Renner, the event coordinator. Now, Pauline, you've got lots and lots of stuff coming up here at the museum.
Yeah, indeed. And two major events every year here at the National Motor Museum, the Rock and Roll Rendezvous and the Beta Birdwood.
Now, 2017 Rendezvous, wow, what an event. The entire outside grass area taken up, classic cars, rock and roll, some great bands. Gee, what an event.
It's a great day. It's the event that is owned by the National Motor Museum. Beta Birdwood is jointly owned by the Federation of Historic Motoring South Australia and the museum. So the rendezvous is good fun.
Pauline, how cool is it? We've got one of the best automotive museums in Australia, but not only do we have a museum, we have a museum that hosts fantastic events. We've just had the 2017 Rock and Roll Rendezvous, the entire grass area out there full of classic cars, rock and roll, some great bands and dancers, and Beta Birdwood. Now, tell us quickly about that.
Sure, a long history. It first started in 1980 for vintage and veteran vehicles, and every second year there's a classic Beta Birdwood. So this year, pre-1981, is the eligibility, and we're expecting 1,750 vehicles.
That is absolutely amazing. Apparently it's bucket list stuff, you know, as Michael alluded to earlier on today's episode. Out of all the automotive cruises that you could put your name down for, Bay to Birdwood is one of them. And it's also being recognised on a global scale now.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. As I say, a really long and proud history for that event. And it's all about the original vehicle. That's what we're looking for in a Bay to Birdwood. Whereas the Rendezvous is all about the modifieds, the hot rods, the real classics, but they can be whatever the entrants want them to be.
For more information on the happenings of what's going on here, check them out online at nationalmotormuseum.com.au. Thank you, Pauline.
That's it. Thanks, Fletch.
With me now, I have the business manager of the National Motor Museum here in Birdwood, South Australia, Sue Wheeler. Hello, Sue.
Hi, how you going, Fletch?
I'm good. Now, this position you've got here must be pretty cool coming to work every day.
Yeah, look, I love it. I've grown to love this museum, and one thing I do really enjoy doing is seeing women come into our museum and how much they enjoy it. They quite often feel they're getting dragged in by their blokes, but they actually love it. There's some amazing stories that the women absolutely love, and we've all driven cars, so, you know, we all, something for everybody.
I think they're nice words of welcoming because obviously more of a male-dominated hobby, but I think more and more females are getting involved and being made welcome as soon as they walk through the door here. Well, that's all part of it, isn't it?
Oh, look, absolutely. Like I said, it's quite often the men dragging the women in, but by the time they leave, they actually find they've had a wonderful experience. There's so many memories here for them as well.
It's an interesting thing, you know, even people that may not class themselves as car people, if they go back to when they were a little kid, everyone has a memory of a car, a truck, even perhaps a motorcycle.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And if it's not their own vehicle that they've driven, they hold memories of their grandparents or their parents or their husbands or... but look, let's face it, most women drive, and they always have, whether it's a car or a motorbike. And so we all have those memories in common, which is just wonderful.
So in closing, in terms of the interview, Sue, if you've got a message, what would you like to say to somebody out there?
Oh, look, I just think everybody needs to give it a try. Like, women, don't be, you know, it's a fantastic place. You will actually love it. There's so many stories here, and we do tell stories about cars. It's not just cars lined up. So come and have a look, and we'll guarantee you'll love your visit.
Good idea. You know, one sole episode of Classic Restos does not give the justice to the National Motor Museum. It is absolutely amazing. How you doing, Mick?
I'm very well, thanks, Fletch. How are you?
Good, mate, good. Now, talk about interactive displays, exhibitions that you've got here at the museum. This one here is a cracker.
Yeah, this is brand new, Bush Mechanics, the exhibition. So it's about the 2001 ABC TV show Bush Mechanics.
I wish it was brand new. An EJ wagon behind us, the one that was used on the series. What a gem of an episode that was. I mean, the guys, they hacked the roof off, they towed it behind the car, used as a trailer. It was the band, right, trying to get their band... Where were they off to?
Woolaura. So they're from Yuendamu, and Woolaura is a nearby community. But I guess they overloaded the roof with a few amps and drum kits and stuff because the roof caved in, but they had a solution.
It's testament to the car. I mean, the poor thing. I mean, what it went through. It's kind of nice, though, to know that it's here now. It's safe. What's left of it. It's quite surreal to be standing next to the car that was in the TV show and to see what it was getting put through.
Yeah, I mean, after all of that, and they drove it for quite a while, dumped it out in the bush, and then someone from the National Museum of Australia went and picked it up. So it's actually been preserved by a museum for the last 15 years.
Right, so after that TV episode was done, the car was dumped.
Yeah, it was dumped, yeah. I mean, they love them and leave them.
Yeah. When you get to the National Motor Museum here in Birdwood in South Australia, come and see Mick and check out the Bush Mechanics display. Thanks, Mick.
Thanks, Fletch.
Paul Rees with us back again. Paul, the motorcycle display. I had no idea this was here. How many bikes are we looking at?
I saw your face when we turned the corner and you came around here. About 120, give or take.
You've got to see this. I mean, seriously, you've got to get to this museum. We're talking bikes from the early 1900s right through to the 50s. I mean, there's classics of all brands. It's just breathtaking.
Well, what we've tried to do is be representative of motorbike history, and like you said, try to represent each brand and the unique and the offshoots and the oddities. As you know, we love the oddities. We sometimes think that history is about that. It's not about the perfect thing. Yep. It's about the attempt to make the perfect thing, and the odd and the things that come up surprise us in a way. Yeah,
there you go, specialising in the oddities.
Absolutely.
If you excel at something, you might as well do it very well, Paul.
That's right, for sure. It's a great collection. My particular favourites is around the transition from a push bike to motorbike, and the craziness of some of the weight distribution on those bikes and scooters. Yeah, they're quite interesting.
To see yourself visiting this incredible place, find out more information at nationalmotormuseum.com.au, and of course on Facebook as well.
Absolutely, yeah. We're very active on Facebook. We love it.
There you go. And as I say at the end of every episode, until next week, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching. You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/ClassicRestosTV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, Reiko Filters, Evans Waterless Coolants, and Pace Farm.